Hey guys, my name's Jake. I run a bookkeeping company. I started it in 2021 and it's been over 4 years and I am super excited about it. I've had a ton of success. I really am like the most average person you could possibly meet. I worked in public accounting for about 7 years. I finally passed my CPA exams in 2021 after failing like 10 times. And after doing tax work for a while, I was burnt out from tax seasons and I decided to start my own bookkeeping business. And so here I want to show you kind of my progress over the years. I don't normally show this to people, but I feel like it might be helpful to those of you who are interested in starting your own bookkeeping business. Like I said, I started in 2021. And so let me just make that a little bigger. And so my profits were very low. I was working full time as an employee and I was basically doing this on the side. And so my income was pretty minimal. But the beginning was honestly the hardest part. That's where I had to hustle. I had to find my own clients. I had to make my own website, but it was exciting. I was super excited about it and nobody was going to stop me. In 2022 is when I really started to pick things up. I was still working part-time as an employee. I had talked to my employer. I dropped to 32 hours a week and I later dropped to 16 hours a week. And so I was able to devote more time towards my bookkeeping business. And so 2022, I saw a lot of growth. I started gaining some clients. I maybe had gotten to maybe 15 clients by the end of 2022. And that's when I quit my full-time job and started and worked full-time on my bookkeeping business. And so you can see here, I made about $65,000 in 2022. 15 of that was for a contract job I did for my employer. So really it's like $50,000 I made from my bookkeeping business. And then 2023, I saw an explosive amount of growth. I went from $32,000 of monthly bookkeeping to $95,000. And I ended the year with almost $150,000 of bookkeeping business revenue. And so at this point, I was so excited. I thought that at this pace, I'd be making $500,000 by 2025, but it didn't happen exactly as planned. It still has grown and it continues to grow. And I'm so happy with the growth that I have. In 2024, I reached almost $190,000 in 1 year. And so to me, that was incredible. You can see my monthly bookkeeping revenue, like the clients that I have that sign up for a monthly subscription, that exploded in 2024. And that provided a lot of stability and consistency. One of the beauties of running a bookkeeping business is you have consistency month over month. And so you know exactly what you're going to make each month. And so this number is huge. And then we look at 2025, and this has been an awesome year. Only 8 months in, and I've already made $180,000 in revenue. You can see my monthly bookkeeping revenue is strong. My cleanup revenue is strong. I do quarterly bookkeeping and consulting and training. I provide a 1099 service at the beginning of the year. I help other bookkeepers start their own businesses. And so I charge a little bit for that. And so if we scroll down a little bit, we can see, okay, this is the income I earned. But then when we look at the expenses, you can see that my labor, my employees take a little bit from this. And so I have an offshore employee in the Philippines who is new, who I hired about 3 months ago. And it's been awesome. She's really good at her job. I've been working really well with her and I'm excited to see what the future holds with having a full-time employee. But most of the last 5 years, I've been working on my own and I've been able to make this money pretty much on my own. I've had a little bit of help, as you can see over the years. If we scroll down even more, you can see that running a bookkeeping business really doesn't cost that much money. The first year I had some like startup costs. I had to build my website. I had, some office supplies and software I had to get. And then, but starting in 2023 and in 2024, you can see the overhead basically stays the same. My rent doesn't change that much. My office supplies and software don't change that much. And so the expenses for a bookkeeping business are extremely low. And when we look at my net operating income, you can see that through 8 months, I've made $150,000. Last year, I made a total of $164,000. And at this rate, if I were to annualize 150, if I were to divide it by 8 months and then multiply it by 12, I'm on track to have about $225,000 in profit from my bookkeeping business. Before I started my bookkeeping business, everyone kind of hated on the idea. I had just passed my CPA exams, like I said, and I was on track to being, a partner at the CPA firm I was working at. Everybody thought that, bookkeeping was a low-level job that nobody would, pay for. Nobody thought there was any money in bookkeeping. Well, I proved them wrong, and I'm showing the world that if you have accounting skills, if you know numbers, if you're good with numbers, and you want to be an entrepreneur and you have that itch to go out on your own, starting a bookkeeping business is one of the best things you could possibly do for your career. I've had so much success. I have so much flexibility. I work maybe 30 hours a week, maybe 35 hours a week. On my business. I never work weekends. I always get home at the same time every day. There's rarely an emergency. And like I said, with recurring monthly revenue, I don't have to guess what the next month is going to look like. I can predict my future. I can have a ton of stability. Again, it was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And you can see from the numbers here. And listen, I know there are other bookkeepers that do even better than this. And so I'm not even trying to boast about it, but I do want to show you what's possible. If you're interested in starting a bookkeeping business, you have to get started. You have to build that website. You have to post on social media. You have to tell people, and you have to start building your confidence and your skills in bookkeeping so that you can do this on your own too. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions about any of these numbers, I'm happy to dive into them in the comments if you have any questions. But yeah, this is me kind of revealing the behind the scenes look of my financials. Thanks, guys.